This next presentation is about materials for packaging, especially with weight and waste reduction. So, WRAP is an organization that got its start in the United Kingdom, and a lot of the concepts used in this presentation are being used in the United States. They help the environment by using less materials. They try to do it from two major standpoints. One is an overall materials reduction, and the other is weight reduction, because every pound of packaging is a pound of material that isn't your product that you're transporting by truck or train or ship or plane, whatever transportation method you're using, and it takes more fuel to move that material. The packaging takes money and fuel that goes into to create environmental problems. So one of the concepts in the packaging examples, the improvement of packaging, is steel lightweighting in canning processes. And not only have we lightweighted the cans, but you can see here something that used to be unheard of, but now is quite commonplace, the rip top can that is an easy to open can that doesn't require a can opener or any other special device to remove the lid. You just lift the tab, which breaks the seal, and pull the lid off. So essentially, research was done by changing a number of factors, maybe the shape of the steel. You notice that there are ridges on the lid that adds strength. In addition, the ridges on the lid will help to bow the lid inward when it's under vacuum pressure. When you heat things with the canning process, it's very hot, you seal it, you put the lid on, it's done, then it cools off, and that lid should suck in and have a little bit of a dip to it. And from a consumer's perspective, that's really important. When you open a can, you should be paying attention and not just blindly doing it. You open a can, you should look at the lid, make sure it has a nice, firm, but slightly concave surface on the top of the lid that is down into the can. And when you pop that seal, the first thing you should see is a little popping it up. And you should also hear a little suction coming in. And that tells you that the integrity of the seal is good and the can should be safe. You should also check expiration dates and physical damage on the can as well. But that is one of the main things to watch for when you're opening any can. If it spits out a little bit, or you get a blowing out, or it's bowing upward, throw it out. Do not use that can. It can be very dangerous. In addition to the description of the lid I just gave, what you can't see under paper labels would be a corrugated shape going down the sides. Instead of a straight wall, you will often see a series of ridges on the side wall as well, and they add strength. So essentially, you have no change in performance of the can. It holds the material safely for the entire expected life of that product. It transports, everything performs from the consumer standpoint just as well. And they might dent a little bit easier, but that's a very trivial loss, what they call in the industry shrink at the retail end when cans are damaged and they have to throw out damaged cans. But it's very, very low loss rate due to damaged cans. Now, in one company alone, Heinz, in their tomato products, by lightweighting steel, they save 1,400 metric tons. That's 2,200 pounds times 1,400 pound or 1,400 pounds of steel that were lost or saved rather. 3,780 tons of carbon reduction due to the reduced amount of steel that needs to be produced or manufactured, as well as the transportation of that steel, not only from the mining quarries to the steel manufacturing facilities, but then the steel manufacturing to the can manufacturing facilities, and then from the can manufacturing facilities to the processor Heinz, and then from Heinz to Safeway or Food for Less or wherever it's going to be sold. That steel has to be moved around a lot. And if you don't need it, you don't use it, you didn't have to transport it. So best in class, the 0.18 millimeter easy open end cans. One example. Glass lightweighting, the same thing. When I was a kid, glass bottles were made to be reused, not just recycled. You would open a bottle of soda, you would drink it, you would put it in the container that you bought it in, the 6-pack container, take it to the store and get a refund on your recycling redemption value. So you'd save up your bottles and bring them back. They would go to a facility, be washed with high pressure, high temperature water, and then refilled, recapped, and sold again. And they were used multiple times, but the bottles were also super thick. They were lethal. They were like clubs that weighed a lot, but they were designed to be used over and over and over again. And that means that every time you use that bottle, though, it has to be transported, and all that diesel. You have to make the glass bottle, send it to the factory, it gets sent to the store, you buy it, you bring it home, you use it, bring it back to the store, back to the cleaning facility, and round it goes. That bottle's being moved around a lot. And so you have to compare what is the energy efficiency of recycling by melting glass down versus recycling by washing and reusing. And in the United States, anyway, we've gotten away from the wash and reuse completely, as far as I know. There's maybe some places in minor areas that still do it, but I only know of that process happening in other countries. They still do it in Mexico, for example, to a large degree. So this Grolsch beer went to their first glass lightweighting, which was 13% lighter than the original can, and then an additional 10% lighter in the bottle that was current at the time of this example, this presentation. And so again, many tons of glass being saved, and it's not just the glass being saved, it is the transportation costs and diesel being spewed into the environment. So Coors is the owner of the Grolsch brand, and they have a lightweighting product that you see here. And there are a number of different examples of this. Here's another company with a light-weighted bottle, 34% reduction in their bottle weight. Larger bottles, here's a Scotch whiskey bottle, and again, a very significant reduction in the overall use of glass. Now, some products, I know I have some glass bottles for alcohols, as well as some going to plastic, which has its own issues. Plastic has some environmental concerns. Is it being recycled as much as it should? No. what happens when you throw it out? Glass is safer when you throw it out at a landfill. But plastic has its other benefits as well. It's much lighter than glass and it can be recycled. So there's no one size, one answer solution, but glass is used extensively, and by lightweighting, you're saving a lot of money and reducing the carbon footprint and the environmental impact of your product. Here's an example of less packaging, and a lot of companies have tried these. I saw them, I would say, especially in the mid 2005, 2006, 2007, starting to come on strong in certain products, and then they started to fade away. I don't see as much of this type of display where you have a display box, a single box that provides some marketing face to that display, along with individual containers that are very lightweight and that don't have the added packaging that are often used in order to have that store shelf appeal. I guess consumers haven't jumped on this as something that they especially want or like. And maybe we have to try different ways of doing it, different ways of promoting these kinds of package waste reduction. But we definitely have a ways to go to get products like this in larger amounts out there for consumers to use that require less packaging. What do we have instead? We have sometimes just a pair of scissors in a what's called a blister pack, which is a very, very heavy duty, hard, but flexible plastic, clear plastic. And it is heated and squished around the product and molded around the product, and the edge is sealed. And you can insert between those pieces of plastic, not only your product, but a piece of specially cut and shaped paper that acts as an advertisement. So you've got this billboard on the shelf, grab this. And I've seen some of those slipped into a box like you see in the picture here, but you've got all this extra plastic. It defeats the purpose. You're using a display method of reducing waste and then putting it in a package that requires tons of waste anyway. Let's take a momentary break.